Turning to southern Gaza, where IDF confirmed taking control of Gaza's side of the border crossing with Egypt after Israeli armored vehicles were seen rolling into Rafah. At least 5 people have reportedly been killed as a result of overnight strikes on Gaza's southernmost city. That's after the IDF announced its operation would continue, basically rejecting an earlier truce offered by Hamas. RT's Middle East Bureau Chief Maria Finoshina has more.
Monday evening, news came of tanks entering Rafah, and Gazans reported about heavy fire. Dozens of casualties have been also reported, yet the IDF calls it a limited operation that focuses only on the eastern part of the city. The army keeps promising that the large-scale operation is coming. IDF is releasing photos of preparations, with Chief of Staff confirming Israel's military intentions. Israel earlier said that people now sheltering in Rafah, in Gaza's south, at least 1.2 million of them, should start evacuating. The IDF sent out leaflets, messages, made calls even to encourage people to move to Mawazi, an area next to Han Yunis in the center of the Strip, where the humanitarian zone has been expanded. And Israel vows to prepare this area, accommodation, food, water, medicine, to embrace most of Gazans from the south, although even Washington says it still didn't see a solid evacuation plan it had requested from Israel before.
We cannot support an operation in Rafah as it is currently envisioned. We have made clear, the Secretary made this clear in his conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu and other members of the Israeli government last week, that we have not seen a humanitarian plan that is credible and that is implementable.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised that Rafah would happen with or without an exchange deal with Hamas. Unclear how, though, as the deal currently on the table that Hamas accepted includes the ceasefire. The deal Hamas accepted includes 3 phases: 42 days of truce during the first stage, with Hamas releasing 33 hostages against Israeli release of hundreds of security Palestinian prisoners currently held in Israeli jails. Also, IDF partially withdraws from Gaza and allows free movement of displaced Palestinians from south to north of the Strip. Phase 2 includes additional 42 days of truce, agreement to restore a sustainable calm, that's a quote, to Gaza, the language offered by Israel to avoid using the wording permanent ceasefire, complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, with Hamas releasing Israeli soldiers and male hostages in exchange for release of additional Palestinian prisoners by Israel. During the final stage, the sides supposed to complete the exchange of the bodies of the hostages and more Palestinian prisoners. The implementation of reconstruction of Gaza under the supervision of Egypt, Qatar and UN begins, and Israeli blockade of the Gaza Strip ends. Not clear what points of this deal Israel particularly disagrees with, but our sources involved in negotiations chill the excitement. On Tuesday, Hamas delegation is supposed to come to Cairo, where they will hand their official acceptance to Egypt. And after that, the document will be sent to Israel, and only then there is an official decision of the Israeli War Cabinet, and it will take another 2 or 3 days. So there is still hope, but we have to wait and see. The news of Hamas's positive response gained much international attention, and mostly also positive. Iran, for example, welcomed the move, calling it a significant achievement of the political intelligence of the Palestinian resistance. But while welcoming Hamas's acceptance and mediators' efforts, many remained skeptical, I have to say, as Israel continues with Rafah plans. Saudi Arabia condemned the move. Jordan's King Abdullah warned that the operation would lead to new massacre. Jordanian foreign minister says Netanyahu is risking ceasefire by bombing Rafah.
Hamas has put out an offer. If Netanyahu genuinely wants a deal, he will negotiate the offer in earnest. Instead, he is jeopardizing the deal by bombing Rafah.
We also see some furious reaction from the United Nations. The organization's High Commissioner for Human Rights described Israel's calls to evacuate Rafah people as inhumane, adding it contradicts international humanitarian law. The UN spokesperson said the decision will only worsen the situation of the civilian population of the enclave. And here is what the UN's chief has to say.
I made today a very strong appeal to the government of Israel and to the leadership of the Hamas in order to go an extra mile to materialize an agreement that is absolutely vital. This is an opportunity that cannot be missed, and a ground invasion in Rafah would be intolerable because of its devastating humanitarian consequences and because of its destabilizing impact in the region.
We have also seen the comment of China's leader during his first in 5 years state visit to France, where he called to end the hostilities, and also heard about discussions in Brussels to sanction Israel for its actions against Gazans. So the international community is welcoming the ceasefire efforts, of course, but is very much concerned that Israel's operation in Rafah will ruin it.